If you asked 20-year-old me if she was confident, I would have said yes, without hesitation. 8-year-old me didn't worry about being invited to birthday parties, how she looked in shorts, if she was too loud, or if she was the tallest girl in group photos. 8-year-old me didn't really have a fear in the world. Now, somewhere along the way of becoming the 23-year-old me that I am today, that bold sense of self was slowly sucked away without permission. Like the colors drained from a brilliant photo. Now, it could have been a combination of the comments that told me I was too loud, too outspoken, too bold, too opinionated, and of course, too confident. And I'm sure you've clicked on this very video looking for a quick fix to boost your confidence, which, I'll admit, was the first draft. But the truth is, this 23-year-old woman is still fighting to get her colors back. Of course, I can't go back in time and undo everything that was done, unsay everything that was said. There is only moving forward. Which brings us to exactly where we are right now. If you know me, you know I am always talking about confidence. And if you don't know me, welcome to the club. So over the past year, I've slowly started to take back a lot of my confidence. I've slowly started to put myself in the situations that I was always scared to do or that I learned to be scared of growing up as a girl. Growing my self-confidence has been one of the biggest changes that I've made in my entire life. And it has bled through to every area of my life, whether it's personal relationships, whether it's school, whether it's career-wise. Having that kind of like internal confidence and that ability to do the things that you want to do without second guessing what people are going to think, what people are going to say, has actually changed my life. There's 3 main things that I've done over the past few years that have helped me make leaps in my journey with confidence. And today I want to share the practical ways that I made these changes in my life and I slowly worked up to the confidence state that I'm in right now. There is so much on the internet about confidence, and a lot of that follows the lines of just believe in yourself or change your mindset or just put yourself in the hard situations. Yes, I do agree with shifting your mindset and how important the self-talk is, but I think that it's very oversimplified. For me at least, when I was trying to build my confidence, I wanted to believe in myself, I just didn't. I knew that the self-talk was important, but I just couldn't do it because it's not something you can just flip like that. Which kind of brings us into step number 1, recognizing your starting point. Don't get me wrong, I'm all about believing in yourself, but at the end of the day, you need to have an honest conversation with yourself and admit what you're good at and admit what you're not good at. I'll give you an example of this. When I first started public speaking, I was actually terrible. I genuinely think that I was one of the worst public speakers out there. I had to wear black because I was sweating through my shirts. I would get choked up when I was talking and I'd get like kind of like these weird hiccups. So public speaking was not one of my strengths. And telling myself that I was good at public speaking was A, a lie, but B, it wouldn't actually help me build the skills I wanted to build in order to speak better in public. It was kind of like subconsciously telling myself that I didn't have anything to work on, that I didn't need to practice, and that I could just wing it. No amount of wishful thinking was going to help me build the skills to talk in front of other people. And that is just the harsh reality of it. The self-talk is important, but you need to recognize where you're at right now and where you want to be. And your ability to close that gap and make the leaps that you want to make in your life, in your confidence, requires more than wishful thinking. Which brings us into our second step, commit to practicing. At some point, I needed to get out there and start putting myself in the situation where I could develop the skills to become good at public speaking, which means voluntarily putting yourself in a situation that makes you uncomfortable. And we're not always comfortable paying that price. I always kept thinking, why am I doing this? Like, I don't actually need to do this. Nobody is forcing me to do these things. Why am I doing them? And there was one mindset shift that helped me tackle this idea of putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. And it's as simple as asking yourself this question. Would you rather choose when you're in these situations? Or would you rather somebody else choose for you? So I'll keep using public speaking as an example because a lot of us are afraid of public speaking. At some point in your life, you're going to have to do a presentation, you're going to have to lead a team meeting, or you're going to have to do something that requires you to speak up when everyone's listening. Now, if you have to face that fear anyways, if you have to be in that situation anyways, would you rather choose voluntarily when you're in that situation, or would you rather have somebody choose for you? So in the case of public speaking, it was either I get to start choosing when I public speak, I get to start practicing on my own terms, when I want, where I want, how I want, or eventually some time in the future, I'm going to be in a situation where I have to public speak in a place I don't know, I have to public speak in front of people I don't know, nothing is going to be in my own control. So I started doing what I call now micro actions. So little decisions that you get to make that are 100% in your control that bring you closer to that state of confidence. And this is a really practical way to close that gap from where you are right now to where you want to be. So some of the micro actions that I started to do that helped me become more comfortable was talking to strangers at coffee shops. I used to have really bad social anxiety. Instead of waiting for other people to come up to me, I would actively make choices to talk to somebody at a coffee shop. Even if it was something as simple as, hey, how are you? Or what are you studying at school? Or what book are you reading? Very low stakes situations, but situations that kind of slowly boosted my confidence meter. Because with these little micro actions, I learned that a lot of these situations weren't as scary as I thought they were. And that's really where your confidence starts to grow. And Mel Robbins, one of my favorite motivational speakers, really hits the nail on this point. She says that you kind of need proof for yourself. You need to know in these situations that you're not going to die and that everything's going to be okay, even if it didn't go as well as you wanted. You need to know that it's not as scary as you thought it was. Just like any skill, the more that you do something, the easier it gets. And being able to practice that confidence on your terms with those micro actions is something that has made the biggest impact in my life. Which brings us back to our last step, taking back control. Now earlier, I said that you need to do more than the self-talk. I said that you need to practice the skills if you want to become good at them. But when I was putting myself in these situations, when I was taking these micro actions, sometimes my anxiety would take over. Sometimes I was worried about what I sounded like, what I looked like, if there was something in my teeth, or if my makeup was okay. What we don't realize is the other person is probably in the exact same situation, thinking those exact same thoughts. And I see it online all the time, and it's so well said. Nobody cares about you as much as you care about you. So the last step in building your confidence is really about taking that control back inwardly. But I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that it's simply just a mindset shift. As true or as helpful as that might be, it's not an actual practical way for you to make changes in your life. So let me show you what it is with an example. As often as I film in public, there is the odd time that I get socially anxious, or that I feel people looking at me and I kind of get nervous and uncomfortable, which is just a basic human emotion, and everyone gets like that, right? Instead of focusing on everything that's happening outside of me, the things that I think to myself are, if I don't get this shot, I'm going to be annoyed in the editing stage, and I'm going to regret not taking this shot if I don't take it right now. There's kind of a situational trade-off. So I'd rather trade those 5 minutes of socially anxious filming for the shots that I'm going to have in the future when I'm editing. And that's how you shift the control back to your ability to make decisions and your ability to do what you want to do. By taking back the control of the situation, I was kind of able to box out everyone on the outskirts and just have this center of confidence. So my goal for this video was to show you the 3 practical steps that I've taken to make those jumps in confidence and to get where I am today. This doesn't say that I'm the most confident person in the world, but this is to show you that you can still do things when you're not confident. I actually would define confidence as doing things even when you're uncomfortable. So if you're somebody right now who's doing those things, actively trying to be more confident, you are already very confident. If you've made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see you in the next one.